I was on set this weekend for the one set that I was dreaming of being on while coming to LA. I was on set for Euphoria, and I'm so proud of myself for being there, for achieving that goal. Like, literally, of all sets, that is the one that I wanted to be on. And I made that happen. And I'm really proud of that. And what I want to dive into today is these fixations. I've been talking a lot recently about discipline, gaining control of your mind, understanding your thoughts, understanding how you spend your time, what your mind is constantly replaying. And when it comes to fixations, fixation is an obsession. When you're fixated on something, you are hyper-focused and you are obsessed with it. And when we hear the word obsessed, it usually has a negative connotation, or it could be really positive, like, oh my god, I'm obsessed with this song, or oh my god, I'm obsessed with this person, or oh my god, that person is obsessed with me. It has many different variations to it. But when it comes to being fixated on something, it is an obsession. And whether that's good or bad is dependent upon what you're fixated on and also your relationship to it. It's okay to be fixated on social media. It's okay to be fixated on the lives of others. But what's not okay is not having control of that fixation. I fully believe it's good to have obsessions. I like being obsessed with things. I like being hyper-focused and fixated on things. But I also like having control of that. If I need to shut it off, I can. And after being on set this weekend, I'm realizing most people don't have that control. They don't even have the awareness that they lack the control of it. And that's the thing. When we're so fixated, especially on something that society gives you to fixate on, you have no awareness of how much it takes your time and attention, how much energy it takes from you. We are on a beautiful set, and they're worried about a block of technology that's full of nonsense instead of enjoying where they're at. And the reason that I want, I've been thinking about this so much. This was on Friday. It's almost a week ago now. And it's been running through my mind. I'm like, wow. It truly blows my mind how unaware so many people are. But then at the same time, I'm also giving myself a moment of gratitude for being aware, for having that control. And I didn't always have this. This is something that I've built up. This is something that I wanted. It's something that I practice. It's an intention. When I go on set, my intention is to be the most professional, outgoing, fun-loving, enjoyable person, and to be present in the moment and to connect with whoever I can connect with and just make the most of it. Like, that is what my entire life is about, is just making the most of it. When somebody asks me, oh, how are you liking LA? Because, I just moved here. I'm like, I'm loving it because I'm making the most of it. Have I had hard times? Abso-fucking-lutely. Do I have some bad days? Absolutely. But I'm making the most of it. Something that I also hear a lot is how, and we all hear this. It's the same story that's been told for, I don't know, decades, centuries, however long. But something that we get repeatedly told is that your 20s are a time to let loose, to party, to explore, to adventure, to have fun, to try new things. I agree with half of that. When you're young, the purpose is to understand yourself, to discover what your purpose is. It's not about going out and partying. It's not about getting super drunk. And that whole idea stems from this belief that whenever you're old, you're not going to have the opportunity to party. You're not going to have the opportunity to have fun and let loose. If you choose to believe that, that's on you. Me personally, I'm going to be making the most out of every day for the rest of my life. I don't care how old I am or how old I will be. I'm going to keep having fun. I'm going to keep letting loose. I'm not going to dictate a portion of my life to partying because I might not have the opportunity to do it when I'm older because I'm going to have too many responsibilities and my body's not going to be the same. Like, what kind of bullshit is that? Truthfully. If I want to party when I'm 50, I'm going to party when I'm 50. If I want to focus on work when I'm 20, I'm going to focus on work when I'm 20. If I want to build discipline and make that my priority, make that my fixation now, I'm going to do that. And if you want to party when you're 20, go right ahead. But I want to emphasize this idea that you don't have to fixate on that right now because it's going to go away in the future. That is a false belief that we have been pushed on, that has been pushed onto us. Your future can be whatever you want it to be. You don't have to do something now because it's not going to be here later. That's up to you to decide. Are you going to only be young and 20 once? Yes. If you choose to live that time partying, amazing. I just hope that you do it with intention. And also with the awareness of the consequences if you're not doing it intentional. Because it all comes back to you. Something that I hear a lot because of how I'm spending my 20s is, dang, I wish I had that when I was 20. I wish I was doing that when I was 20. I wish I had that mindset when I was your age. And it's like, I enjoy hearing that, but it all happens in divine timing. We all get to our space when we're meant to. And that's something I also have to remind myself whenever I am speaking on something like this is, not everybody's on the same journey as me. And I know that, and I accept that. But it still blows my mind how much my generation, at least the people I've been exposed to, lacks awareness. And lacks intention, and lacks discipline. And we all have that. Every generation has experienced that. This is just my first time living it, so I get to talk about it. But one thing I want to say is that if you can't control what you're doing, if you can't control your thoughts, if you can't control your actions, if you can't control whether you're being present or not, you're not going to live a good life. You probably aren't living a good life. Or at least you're not very happy and at peace within. Maybe your life is excellent. But is your inner life excellent? If you're not utilizing this tool, this asset, in a way that is benefiting you, or pushing you forward or making you better? How are you using it? Are you even using it? Or are you letting it control you? When I listen to conversations of people complaining about not having their phones for simply an hour, 2 hours, it instantly tells me they don't have control of their mind. Their phone is controlling them. That's not good. That's not ideal. It's not ideal. And you know, it makes me feel like when I talk about subjects like this, it makes me feel anxious, and it makes me feel like I'm speaking on an unimportant topic. Because it's like, yeah, Maggie, we know this. Obviously, it's not good to be addicted to your phone. But it's like, do we really know if I'm being surrounded by so much of that conversation? How many people really know? How many people really understand that? How many people really embody it? I'm in such a phase of transformation and growth and really shifting my life right now. I can feel it in every cell of my body that things are shifting, and my conversation is shifting. The things that I'm doing with my time are shifting. The people I'm around are shifting. And so I just want to continue to bring awareness to, one, how it's shifting, why it's shifting, but also to just bring more inspiration so you can shift with me. Because it's never fun to shift alone. We want people by our sides. I want more people to wake up, because when I'm on set, I want to connect. And thankfully, there's like over 300 people, so I did find a few people to connect with. Obviously, I didn't talk to everybody. That's a little overwhelming and for me. But if everybody there is just so fixated on their phones or not having their phones, it's really hard to connect with people. And I don't like that. I'm a human being. I like to connect with others. I like to be able to have conversations. I like to be able to have meaningful conversations. No matter where I'm at. I don't care if I'm on set. I don't care if I'm at a park. I don't care if I'm at a grocery store. I like to have meaningful conversations. I want every conversation I have to be meaningful. And I've built that. Every conversation I have is meaningful. And if we're not having meaningful conversations, I don't want to have a conversation with you. And it's like, truthfully, out of those 300 something people, I probably did not want to have a conversation with at least 200 of them. And that's just me making an observation. Do I know that for fact? Absolutely not. Because did I talk to everybody? No. But just from the things that I was observing and listening, I'm like, dang, I probably would not connect with most of these people. And they probably wouldn't connect with me. And that's fine. That is okay. But it's like, why? Why are we not connecting? What is separating us? We're all humans. We're all young. We're all on the same set. Why can't we connect? Why aren't we on the same understanding? And I'm like, it's kind of frustrating. It's kind of frustrating. But I also know that everybody's on their own time. And I can't. The best way for me to go about a situation like that is to be myself. And that's exactly what I did. I had a great time. Like, I was being so present and so full of fun and energy, and I was just dancing and living my best life. And they gave us like a bunch of CBD joints, and I smoked a shit ton of those. And they dressed me like a skater girl. I had like a backwards hat on, a fuzzy, cozy sweater. I was living my best life. Something else that I've noticed is that whenever you fixate on growth, especially at such a young age, I'm 23, and the people that I connect with most are not 23. They're either in their late 20s, their 30s, their 40s. One of the closest people in my life is in her 50s. And whenever you fixate on growth and you fixate on making yourself better, it almost isolates you. It disconnects you from the common society. And you have to do that to be able to grow, to be able to work on yourself. You have to pull yourself away from that. And it sets you apart. And I'd say something that I honestly struggle with, or I find struggle in it, is being able to connect with just like people like that on set. It's like I want to have a good time. I want to have good conversations, but it's like I literally can't fucking stand half the conversations that people are having. And it stresses me out. It really stresses me out, because it's like it almost feels like punishment in a way. But it's not, because like I know that I wouldn't want to be living any other way. Like, I want to fixate on my growth. I want to transform my life. I want to be the best that I can be for myself. But doing that, choosing that path, it puts you in such isolation where you can only really connect with others on that path, or people who are beyond it. But you can't connect with people who aren't there yet. I mean, you can, but just to a very certain extent. And I'm feeling a lot of love for that. A lot of love for myself. Because one thing that I'm really grateful for since moving to LA is the people that I've met. The community that I have. Like today at my workout community, I got to lead the stretch. And I got to lead everybody in our warm-up. And I just started going to this 8 months ago. And they've been doing this workout for 14 years. But somehow I've put myself in that space where I'm getting asked to lead the warm-up and the stretch because the regular person's not there. And that made me feel so good. And like, that's what I'm filling my life with. I hold a lot of sadness for these fixations that other people have, that most of society has. There's a lot of sadness because there's such disconnect. There's such a disconnection in our society that we feel like we have to stay connected to our phones because we don't know how to connect with those around us. And that's the real problem. It's not the phone itself. It's the fact that we don't know how to connect anymore. We don't know how to accept ourselves. We don't know how to have meaningful conversations because we're really not being taught how to do that anymore. We're just being given new technology, new things, new trends, new apps, and AI, all of these things that are so out of touch with humanity that we, as humans, don't even know how to live in a beautiful and humane way anymore. And so when I go on these sets and I'm surrounded by hundreds of other people my age, but they're just so stuck on this idea, instead of just being present and being grateful, it makes me so sad. It makes me so sad. And I know that there's nothing that I can do about that, except for what I'm doing. This is why I do what I do. This is why I have this podcast. This is why I'm hosting these events now. So people don't have to feel like they need their phone. So people don't feel like they have to connect to the social virtual world because they're so in love with what's around them, with how they feel inside. They're so comfortable with themselves that they can just talk to anybody. They're so comfortable with who they are and what they're doing for themselves that they can just be present and enjoy. They can enjoy the set. They can enjoy the experience. They can enjoy all the new things around them. That is what I want from people. That's what I want from those around me. That's what I want for everybody. I want you to be able to feel so comfortable in yourself that you forget that your phone even exists. I want you to feel so accepted and loved that you can have a conversation with anybody and it's meaningful and it's full of depth and connection. I want you to be able to wake up every single day and feel all the love that surrounds you. And I know our world is absolutely insane right now, but that's when it's even more important to feel that way, because love heals. By you being compassionate with yourself and being compassionate with others, it gives the world space to heal. And if we're all doing that, here I am. I want world peace. We all want that. But what are you doing to get us there? Sharing a post on social media is great. But truthfully, and this might be a controversial topic, what does sharing a post really do if you're not being a loving and compassionate human being? Is that not where it starts? Is that not where change starts? Does it not start with you? Yes, you can share. Yes, you can bring awareness. It's important. But if you still have bad habits that motivate destruction and support it, whatever form of destruction, whether it's destruction of yourself, your mind, your thoughts, the people around you, maybe something physical, if your habits still reflect that, sharing a post on social media isn't doing anything. And I think that's why I avoid talking about things like this. That's why I avoid getting involved. Because I like to look at the core of problems. And it's not gonna get fixed solely by that. You have to become a compassionate being. You have to become a loving soul. You have to remember that you already are that. You have to embody it. You need to fixate on love. Fixate on positivity. Fixate on things that are good for you. Fixate on being a good person. I was at work today and I was talking to my coworkers, and I just found out yesterday that apparently our government is shut down. And that just goes to show you how disconnected I am from that. And I agree to an extent that it's important to be aware of what's going on. But it's like, what does me having that knowledge really do? And what does you having that knowledge really do if you're still not living a life fueled by love? How much change are we really making if we're not even in control of our own minds? And that goes for anything. You being in control of your mind gives you all the power for your life. And that's all that you really can have power of. Your life, yourself, the things that you create. Do you have that power? Or are you fixated on things that aren't benefiting you? That's my question for you. What are you fixated on? What's your obsessions? What are you currently obsessed with? And whenever you answer those questions, I also want you to ask yourself, if you continue to have these obsessions for the rest of your life, are you going to live a good life? Will your life be fulfilling, exciting, full of joy, full of prosperity? Or will it be the opposite of that? Do your current fixations and obsessions give you a fulfilling life? Or do they not? That's what I want to ask you today. That's where I'm going to leave it off today. And I love you guys. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. And every purpose of every episode that I have is to just get you to go deeper into yourself, deeper into your mind. These are just my thoughts, my opinions, my words, my ideas that I like to share. And I appreciate you guys being here. Welcome to episode 101 of the Magical Lane podcast. We're officially in the hundreds. And I'm proud of that. And I hope you guys are too, because that means we're going to reach 200 soon. And that's a lot of fucking episodes and a lot of me talking. And hope you guys are ready. And I will see you guys